Adam had always been a man of routine. Each morning he'd wake before dawn, brew a cup of coffee, and sit at his desk to work on projects or sketches. His days were filled with the steady rhythm of responsibility, an anchor that gave him solace. But today was different. The sound of the front door creaking open broke through his concentration. He looked up, his heart pounding, as Laura entered the room. Her smile was warm, her eyes twinkling with excitement, but there was something off. She seemed distracted. "Hey, honey," she said, setting down her briefcase. "I have something to tell you." Adam's stomach tightened. He could feel the weight of anticipation in the air, a tension he didn't fully understand. They had been married for 10 years, their life built on shared memories and quiet moments. But now, as she stood before him, a sense of unease crept over him. "I found a job," she said finally, her voice steady but her gaze avoiding his. "Upstate, near the office where my coworker works." The words hung in the room like a storm cloud. Adam's mind struggled to grasp what she was implying. "A job," he repeated, his voice catching. "Or something more." Laura hesitated, her expression flickering with discomfort. "It's just a promotion," she said finally, but there was a lack of conviction in her tone. For a moment the room was silent, the weight of unspoken words pressing down on them. Then, as if a dam broke, tears streamed down Laura's face. She dropped to her knees, her hands covering her face. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I didn't mean for this to happen. It just started happening." Adam felt his world shift. The ground beneath him seemed to give way, and he struggled to find his balance. He wanted to reach out to pull her close, but something inside him held back. Betrayal stung like a sharp blade, slicing through the fabric of trust they had built over the years. "I need time," he said finally, his voice trembling. "I need to process this." Laura nodded, her body shaking with sobs. "I'll give you that." She stood, brushing herself off, and left the room without another word. Alone, Adam sat at his desk, staring at the blank screen in front of him. The projects he had once loved now felt like weights tied to his chest. His mind raced, a cacophony of emotions warring within him: anger, sadness, confusion, and a profound sense of loss. He wanted to talk to someone, but who? His friends hadn't known about the affair, and he wasn't ready to share such personal pain with them yet. Maybe in time, but for now, he needed space. The sound of the doorbell startled him from his thoughts. He glanced at the clock. 6:30 p.m. His neighbors, the Johnsons, lived next door. When he opened the door, Jane stood there, her eyes filled with concern. "Are you okay?" she asked, stepping into the house without waiting for an invitation. Adam sighed, shaking his head. "I'm not okay," he admitted. "But I don't know if I can talk about it right now." But Jane nodded, her gentle hand resting on his shoulder. "Take your time," she said. "Sometimes just knowing someone cares is enough." That night, after Jane left, Adam sat on the couch staring at the TV but not really seeing it. The kids were staying with a friend, and he knew he should be grateful for their distraction. But as he sat there, the weight of his loss settled over him like a shroud. He thought about the life they had built together. Their home, their children, the shared moments that had once been so precious. Now, those memories were tinged with a bittersweet flavor, each one a reminder of what had been lost. The next morning he sat across from Laura in the living room, surrounded by legal papers and divorce forms. The atmosphere was heavy. The silence speaks louder than words. They both knew this was the end of their marriage, but neither knew how to begin the process of moving on. "Have you talked to the coworker?" Adam asked finally, his voice steady despite the turmoil within him. Laura looked up, her eyes swimming with tears. "No," she said softly. "I told her I needed space." Adam nodded, a mixture of anger and relief surging through him. He wanted to confront her, to yell, but he knew it wasn't necessary.
No.
For now, he would focus on himself. The divorce proceedings were lengthy and painful. Adam threw himself into his work, immersing himself in projects that once brought him joy. But even as he poured his energy into his career, A void remained, a constant reminder of the life he had lost. One evening, after a particularly tough day at work, Adam sat on the porch swing, staring at the stars. The kids were staying with Laura for the weekend, and he felt a pang of sadness as he thought about their absence. He had always been their rock, but now he felt more like sand in the wind. A movement across the street caught his eye. His neighbor, Mr. Thompson, was walking his dog. Adam waved. Mr. Thompson nodded in return. It was a small gesture, but it gave Adam a sense of connection, a reminder that he wasn't alone. In the weeks that followed, Adam began to find solace in small things. He started jogging regularly, his thoughts racing with everything from work to memories of their life together. He joined a local book club where he found camaraderie in discussions about books he'd never read before, and, slowly, he started to feel like himself again. But one thing remained unchanged: the ache for what he had lost. He knew that time wouldn't erase the pain, but it would heal the wound, making it bearable. As the seasons changed and the years passed, Adam learned to live with his loss, to find joy in the moments ahead. The life he had once imagined for himself and Laura was gone, but he discovered that there were new possibilities waiting just around the corner. And so though the road ahead was long, Adam began to see that he could still find happiness, maybe not the kind he had envisioned, but a kind that suited his new reality.